this lecture, we will discuss removal of solids, calcium and other metals, dissolved organic, inorganic, phosphorus and nitrogen removal from wastewater. Relatively large solid particles are removed from water by simple settling infiltration process. The removal of colloidal solids from water usually requires the process of coagulation. Hence, coagulation filtration is one of the most effective process than filtration alone. In coagulation, addition of coagulants to aggregate particles to larger size for removal of suspended materials from water followed by filtration. Of these, coagulant alum or filter alum is the most commonly used as a coagulant. Salts of aluminum and iron are also used. This substance is hydrated aluminum sulfate. When this salt is added to water, the aluminum ion hydrolyzes by reaction that consumes alkalinity in water. Alkalinity is basically due to carbonate, bicarbonate and phosphate ions. The formation of gelatinous hydroxide carries suspended material with it settles. Furthermore, it is likely that positively charged hydroxyl rich dimers and higher polymers are formed which interact with the colloidal particles. Sodium silicate neutralized by acid aids coagulation when used with alum. Metal ions in coagulants also react with virus proteins and destroy viruses in water. Hence, the addition of alum removes a large proportion of the high molecular weight of natural organic matter compounds. Ferrous sulfate, ferric sulfate, ferric chloride and mixture of ferrous sulfate and ferric chloride are most commonly used iron-based coagulants. Anhydrous iron sulfate works over the wide range of pH 4 to 11 and it is converted into the iron hydroxide after the addition of water. Hydrolysis of iron sulfate during coagulation results in the formation of corresponding gel-like hydroxide and some positively charged mononuclear and polynuclear species. These positively charged compounds combine with negatively charged colloidal particles present in the wastewater by charge neutralization mechanism, and at the time of settling under gravity, these hydroxide and complex hydroxide sweep away remaining uncharged and charged colloidal particles of the wastewater with them and precipitate out. Hydrated iron sulfate work as a coagulant, but it works over pH range higher than 8.5 oxidized to iron 3 or by chlorine which acts as oxidizing agent at low pH value. The performance of coagulant was primarily based on pH, total dissolved solid, biochemical oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand and turbidity. Turbidity means cloudiness, milky appearance of treated water. Natural coagulants, starch, cellulose derivatives, proteinaceous materials, gums composed of polysaccharides are also used. The second step in conventional water treatment system is filtration, which removes particulate matter from water by forcing the water to pass through porous media. The filtration system consists of filters with various size of pores and is often made up of sand, gravel and charcoal. It basically used to reduce clogging. Media with smaller interstitial spaces are used as rapid sand filters. There are two basic types of sand filtration, flow sand filtration and rapid sand filtration. Flow sand filtration is a biological process because it uses bacteria to treat the water. The bacteria establish a community on the top layer of sand and clean the water as it passes through by digesting the contaminants into the water. The layer of microbes is called biofilm and requires cleaning every couple of months. When it gets too thick and the flow rate declines, after the biofilm is removed, the bacteria must be allowed several days to re-establish a community before filtering can be resumed. However, flow sand filtration systems require larger areas of land to operate because the flow rate of the water is between 0.1 and 0.3 meter per hour. Due to land area that is required and downtime for cleaning, rapid sand filters which were developed in the early 20th century are much more prevalent today. Rapid sand filtration is a physical process that removes suspended solids from water. Rapid sand filtration is much more common than flow sand filtration because rapid sand filters have fairly high flow rates and require little space to operate. In fact, during rapid sand filtration, the water flows at rate of 20 meters per hour. The filters are generally cleaned twice per day with backwashing filters and are put back into operation immediately. Substance, that is a coagulant material that filters water collects into the sand. Class of solids, that is suspended solids in secondary sewage effluent, account for a large portion of biological oxygen demand in the effluent. An important class of solids that must be removed from wastewater consists of suspended solids in secondary sewage effluent that arise from sludge that was not removed in settling process. These solids account for a large portion of biological oxygen demand in effluent and may interfere with other aspects of tertiary wastewater treatment, such as clogging membrane in reverse osmosis water treatment process. The quantity of materials involved may be rather high. Process designed to remove suspended solids often will remove 10 to 20 mg per liter of organic material from secondary sewage effluent. In addition, small amount of inorganic material is also removed. So the process used is dissolved air flotation, through which many of the particles found in water that have low density, close to even less than that of water, have been removed. Particles less than water have a tendency to rise to the surface from which they can be skimmed off, but it is often a slow and incomplete process. The removal of such particles can be aided by dissolved air flotation, in which small air bubbles are formed that attach to particles, causing them to float. Flotation of particles with air can be accompanied by coagulation of the particles as aided by coagulant. The removal is achieved by dissolving air in the water or wastewater under pressure and then releasing the air at atmospheric pressure in flotation tanks basin. The released air forms teeny bubbles which adhere to the suspended matter, causing the suspended matter to float on the surface of water, where it may be removed by skimming device. Dissolved flotation is widely used in treating the industrial wastewater effluent from oil refineries, petrochemical and chemical plants, natural gas processing plants, paper mills, general water treatment and similar industrial facilities. In the oil industry, dissolved gas flotation often used instead of dissolved air flotation, in which dissolved gases like nitrogen dioxide is used instead of air. The feed water is pumped in addition with the coagulant. Any type of coagulant material is used, as alum is used. Flotation of particles with air can be accompanied by coagulation process. Water supersaturated with air under pressure is released to the bottom of the tank. where bubbles are formed in a layer of milky water. Bubble formation takes place dissolved air fluctuation in which pressurized water supersaturated with air is released into the bottom of the tank, producing milky white appearance. Flocculated particles that contain air bubbles rise to the top where the flocculated material may be skimmed off. A portion of the clarified effluent leaving the dissolved air flotation tank is pumped into small pressure vessel. This is known as air drum, into which compressed air is also introduced. This results in saturating the pressurized effluent water with air. The air saturated water stream is recycled to the front of the float tank and flows through a pressure reduction valve, as is a shown diagram, just as it enters the front of the float tank. Membrane filtration process. Filtration through membrane under pressure is an effective means of removing solid and impurities from water. Membrane filtration is a method of separating particles in liquid solutions and gas mixtures. The technique is used in a wide range of applications ranging from dairy processing to wastewater treatment. The semi-permeable membrane acts as a barrier which retains large particles while allowing smaller molecules to pass through the membrane into permeate. Filtration through membrane. The purified water that goes through a membrane is known as permeate, and the smaller amount of material that doesn't go through the membrane is retentate. Membrane operate by size exclusion process. As membrane with smaller openings are used, smaller particles and even molecules and ions are excluded, but higher pressure are required and more energy is consumed. In order of decreasing pore size, common membrane processes such as microfiltration, ultrafiltration, nanofiltration and hyperfiltration are used. Membrane with smaller openings, small molecules are excluded at high pressure. A problem common to all membrane process is that caused by retentate, which is concentrated in substance that are removed from water. In some cases, these material may be discharged with wastewater, and retentate from reverse osmosis desalination of seawater may be returned to sea. Other options, depending upon the source of water treated, include evaporation of water, incineration of residues, reclamation of material from some industrial wastewater, and disposal in deep saline water. Membrane filtration system may also be called a particle filter. Particles with a diameter greater than 1 mm, such as gravel and sand, are removed through the sedimentation process. Particles with diameter greater than 100 micron, 0.1 mm, such as fine sand, are removed through sand filtration. As the pore size decreases, a greater proportion of material is retained as the water passes through the filter. Often a combination of several size filters is used so that large particles don't clog up too quickly. By using fine materials such as sand or a suspended clay or applying a coagulant, it is possible to remove small particles between 1 and 100 microns in size. As among the filtration, microfiltration, ultrafiltration, nanofiltration are most commonly used, and membranes with progressively smaller pore size. Among them, the decreasing pore size, the common membrane process are microfiltration, and then in the next ultrafiltration, then nanofiltration, and then hyperfiltration in order of decreasing pore size. The membrane having the very decreased pore size used in the hyperfiltration. Microfiltration. Microfiltration membrane have pore size ranging from 0.1 to 10 micron. They are mainly used for the removal of large particulates, colloids and bacteria from feed stream. This is especially popular in food and beverage industry for treating wastewater before discharging it to a municipal wastewater. Ultrafiltration is a process that is similar to microfiltration but with small pore size range from 0.01 to 0.1 micron meter. It is used in rejecting viruses, polypeptides and are mostly used in protein concentration and wastewater treatment. Then nanofiltration. Nanofiltration membranes are similar to reverse osmosis membranes in that they contain a thin film composite layer less than 1 micron meter on the top of the porous layer 50 to 150 micron meter for small ion selectivity. Nanofiltration membranes are able to reject multivalent salts and uncharged solutes while allowing some monovalent salts to pass through it. They can operate at lower pressure than the reverse osmosis, making them ideal for achieving an optimal combination of flux and rejection. Reverse osmosis membranes are even tighter than the nanofiltration membrane and are able to reject all monovalent ions while allowing water molecules to pass through in aqueous solutions. They can also remove viruses, bacteria found in feed solutions. Common application of reverse osmosis filtration include seawater desalination, industrial wastewater treatment. It is important that operating pressure for reverse osmosis and nanofiltration is much higher than applied by microfiltration and ultrafiltration. Overall, the yield is lower than microfiltration and ultrafiltration. Microfiltration also used for the removal of stains, pigments, bacteria, resins, fat, material from the wastewater. Removal of calcium and other metals. Calcium and magnesium salts cause water hardness due to presence of bicarbonates and sulfates. Insoluble curd formation takes place by the reaction of soap with calcium and magnesium ions. Calcium and magnesium must be complexed or removed from water in order for detergent to function properly. Another problem caused by the water is formation of mineral deposits. For example, when water containing calcium and bicarbonate ions is heated, as in the first step, insoluble calcium carbonate is formed. This product coats the surface of hot water system, clogging pipes and reducing heat efficiency. Dissolved salts such as calcium and magnesium bicarbonates and sulfates can be especially damaging in boiler feed water. The removal of water hardness is essential for many uses of water. Several processes are used for softening water. On a large scale, such as in community water softening operation, the lime soda process is used. This process involves the treatment of water with lime, calcium hydroxide and soda ash, sodium carbonate. Calcium is precipitated as calcium carbonate and magnesium as magnesium hydroxide. When the calcium is present primarily as a bicarbonate hardness, it can be removed by the addition of calcium hydroxide, and in the second step, calcium carbonate formation takes place. When bicarbonate ions is not present at substantial level, a source of carbonate must be provided at a high enough pH to prevent the conversion of carbonate to bicarbonate. These conditions are obtained by the addition of sodium carbonate, as in the third step, addition of sodium carbonate. Calcium present as chloride can be removed from water by the addition of soda ash, which is known as sodium carbonate. Removal of bicarbonate hardness results in a net removal of soluble salts from solution, whereas removal of non-bicarbonate hardness involves the addition of at least many equivalent of ionic materials are removed. So the next is removal of magnesium. The precipitation of magnesium as the hydroxide require a higher pH than the precipitation of calcium as the carbonate, as in this step magnesium hydroxide formation takes place. The high pH required may be provided by the basic carbonate ion from soda ash. The formation of bicarbonate takes place when soda ash reacts with water. Some large-scale lime soda softening plants make use of precipitated calcium carbonate product as source of additional lime. The calcium carbonate is first heated to at least 825 degrees Celsius to produce calcium oxide, which is known as quicklime. As in this step, calcium carbonate is heated to produce the calcium oxide. Then the quicklime, which is the calcium oxide, is then slacked with water to produce calcium hydroxide. In the fourth step, it is shown. Water softening process suffers from two disadvantages. First, because of supersaturation effect, some calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide remain in the solution. Supersaturation basically is a solution that contains more of the dissolved material than could be dissolved by the solvent under normal circumstances. It can also be referred to a vapor of a compound that has higher pressure than vapor pressure of that compound. If this calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide not removed, these compounds will precipitate at a later time and cause harmful deposits or undesirable cloudiness in water. The second problem results from the use of highly basic sodium carbonate, which gives the product water as an excessively high pH up to 11. To overcome these problems, water is decarbonated by bubbling carbon dioxide into it. The carbon dioxide converts the slightly soluble calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide to their soluble bicarbonate forms as below mentioned equations. Calcium carbonate converts the carbon dioxide to bicarbonate and magnesium hydroxide converted into also bicarbonate ions. The carbon dioxide also neutralizes excess hydroxide ions. The pH is brought within the range of 7.5 to 8.5 by decarbonation. The source of carbon dioxide used in the recarbonation process may be from the combustion of carbonaceous fuel, scrubbed steak gas from a power plant, frequently utilized, water adjusted to a pH, alkalinity and calcium very close to calcium carbonate saturation is labeled chemically stabilized. It neither precipitates calcium carbonate in water mains, which can clog the pipes, nor dissolves protective calcium carbonate coating from the pipe surface. Water with calcium concentration much below calcium carbonate saturation is called aggressive water. Calcium may be removed from water very efficiently by the addition of orthophosphate. It should be pointed out that the calcium formation of slightly soluble product for the removal of undesired solutes such as hardness ion, phosphate, iron, magnesium, manganese must be followed by sedimentation in a suitable apparatus. Coagulates must be added and filtration implied for the complete removal of these sediments. Chelation. Chelate, sometimes referred to as scasprin, is a specialized molecule designed to bind positively charged metal ions, most commonly calcium and magnesium ion in the solution. By binding them with a chelate, you prevent these minerals from forming insoluble precipitate on the surface of your walls or your shower head. Chelates can bind with any metal ions in the solution, not just calcium and magnesium. Iron and manganese also bind with the chelate. Iron and manganese less prevalent in water supply can also lead to significant cleaning problems, including the formation of deposits such as iron oxide in the form of rust and manganese dioxide. Chelates in solution will also bind with these ions, preventing them from forming deposits on the top of the layer. Complexing agent that is used as a chelant include EDTA, phosphates, NTA, nitrilotriacetic acid, citrates, silicates, and polymer of acrylic and malic acid. Chelating calcium ion with excess EDTA reduces concentration of hydrated calcium ion. Chelation is most commonly used for the removal of metal ions in the solution into the wastewater. Water may be purified by ion exchange, that is the reversible transfer of ions between aquatic solution and a solid material capable of binding ions. Ion exchange resins, basically resin or polymer that act as a medium for ion exchange or sport structure, normally in the form of small micro beads approximately 0.25 to 0.5 millimeter radius, usually white or yellowish, fabricated from an organic polymeric substrate. Four main types of ion exchange resins differ in their function. Ion exchange resin may be strongly acidic, that is containing the sulfonic acid group, for example sodium polystyrene sulfate, which is used for the removal of water hardness. Next is strongly basic quaternary ammonium compound, for example containing trimethyl ammonium group. Next is weakly acidic, that contain carboxylic group, removing the alkalinity. Alkalinity means bicarbonate, carbonate, ions removal. Weakly basic, typically featuring primary, secondary or tertiary amino group, for example polyethylene amine groups. Ion exchange resins may be divided into two categories: anion exchange resins and cation exchange resins. Anion exchange resins attract negatively charged ions, while cation exchange resins attract positively charged ions. The removal of sodium chloride from solution by two ion exchange reactions. First, while the water is passed over a solid cation exchanger in the hydrogen form. Next, the water is passed over an anion exchanger in the hydroxide ion form. Thus, the cation ion in the solution are replaced by the hydrogen ion and anions by the hydroxide ion, yielding water as a product. The softening of water by ion exchange doesn't require the removal of all ionic solutes, just those cations responsible for water hardness. Therefore, only a cation exchange resin is necessary. Furthermore, the sodium rather than the hydrogen form of the cation exchange resins. Cation exchange method removes the hardness of water but induces acidity in it, which is further in the next stage for the treatment of water by passing this acidic water through another anion exchange process. The water softening capability of cation exchanger is shown where sodium ion on the exchanger is exchanged for the calcium ion in the solution, as in this figure, involving replacement of calcium ion in water with the sodium ion donated by cation exchange resins. The same reaction occurs with the magnesium ion. Water softening by cation exchange is a widely used, effective and economical process. In many areas having low flow rate, widespread home water softening by ion exchange causes deterioration of water quality arising from the contamination of wastewater by sodium chloride. Such contamination results from the periodic needs to regenerate a water softener with sodium chloride in order to displace calcium and magnesium ions from the resin and replace these hardness ions with the sodium ions. As in this equation, cation exchanger in which cation itself has negative charge and exchange positively charged ions as protons with the sodium chloride solution. Sodium ions are replaced by the proton ion and cation having the negative charge and replace the positively charged ions. These resins are known as cation exchange resins. Now the next step for the water softening after cation exchange resins, anion exchange resins are used to remove the acidity of water. Often these are styrene divinyl benzene copolymer resins that have quaternary ammonium cations as an integral part of the resin. As these resins remove the hydroxyl anion exchange resins, that is the exchange of anions. Anion exchange resins itself resins have the positive charge as this equation represents that anion exchange resin material, any type of the copolymer which acts as a resin material have the positive charge and the exchange of hydroxyl ion with the chloride ion takes place and removal of water takes place. At the end, the sodium chloride must be used. During regeneration process, a large excess of sodium chloride must be used. Appreciable amount of dissolved sodium chloride can be introduced into sewage by this route. Strongly acidic cation exchange resins are used for the removal of water hardness. Weakly acidic cation exchange resins having the functional group carboxylic group are useful for removing alkalinity. Alkalinity is basically due to bicarbonate ion species, hence a strong base to neutralize the acid of a weak acid cation exchange resin. In this application, ion exchange resins are used to remove poisonous copper, hazardous metal, lead and cadmium ions from the solution, replacing them with other innocuous ions such as sodium and potassium that are not hazardous metals. Few ion exchange resins remove chlorine or organic contaminants from water. This is usually done by using an activated charcoal filter mixed in with the resin. There are some ion exchange resins that do remove organic ions such as magnetic ion exchange resins. Domestic water purification resins is not usually recharged. The resin is discarded when it can no longer be used. There are four main types of standard water treatment that include strong base anion resin, weak base anion resin, strong acid cation resin and weak acid cation resin. Strong base anion resin are strong enough to remove both strong and weak acids, including carbonic acid, salicylic acid, demineralization, dealkalization, desilication as well as removal of total organic carbon or other organics depending on the type of resin were performed using strong base anion resins. Weak base anion resins remove anions associated with strong acids like chloride and sulfate and will not remove weak acids like carbon dioxide and silica. Weak base anion resins are combined with the strong base anion resins to perform the demineralization process. Both of these when combined increase the efficacy of the resin. Strong acid cation exchange resins are among the most widely used resins, especially for the softening application, as they are effective at complete removal of hardness of ions such as magnesium or calcium. Certain varieties of soft acid cation resins have been developed for application demanding removal of barium, radium from drinking water or other streams. Soft acid cation resins can be damaged by oxidants and fault by iron or manganese, so care must be taken to avoid exposure of the resins to these materials. Weak acid cation exchange resins remove cations associated with alkalinity such as removal of temporary hardness takes place as the removal of carbonates, bicarbonates, ions, and are used for the demineralization, dealkalization applications, removal of alkali and demineralization minerals and nutrients from water. Additionally, weak acid cation resins tend to have high oxidation resistance and mechanical durability, making them a good choice for streams containing oxidants such as hydrogen peroxide and chlorine. Very low level of exotic organic compounds in drinking water are suspected of contributing cancer and other maladies. Some of these are chlorinated organic compounds that are produced by chlorination of organics in water, especially humic substances. Removal of organics to very low level prior to chlorination has been found to be effective. Another major class of disinfection byproducts consist of organo-oxidant compounds such as aldehyde, carboxylic acid and oxoacids. Their removal is also very necessary. A variety of organic compounds are produced by secondary waste treatment and should be considered as factor in discharge or reuse of the treated water. Among the remainder compounds are found ether extractable materials, carbohydrates, proteins, detergents, tannins and lignins. Because of their high molecular mass and anionic character, the humic compounds influence some of the physical and chemical aspects of waste treatment. The ether extractable contains many of the compounds that are resistant to biodegradation and are of particular concern regarding potential toxicity, carcinogenicity and mutagenicity. In ether extracts are found many fatty acid hydrocarbons of N-alkanes class, naphthalene, diphenylmethane, diphenyl, methylnaphthalene, isopropyl benzene, phenol, phthalate and triethyl phosphate. The standard method for the removal of dissolved organic material is adsorption on activated carbon, a product that is produced from a variety of carbonaceous materials including wood, pulp, meal, peat, lignite. The carbon is produced by chilling the raw material anaerobically below 600 degrees Celsius, followed by an activation step consisting of partial oxidation. Carbon dioxide may be employed as an oxidizing agent at 600 to 700 degrees Celsius and converted into carbon monoxide, or the carbon may be oxidized by steam at 800 to 900 degrees Celsius, conversion into carbon monoxide. These processes develop porosity, increase the surface area, leave the carbon atoms in arrangements that have affinities for organic compounds. Activated carbon comes in two general types. First is known as granulated activated carbon, second is known as powdered activated carbon. Granulated activated carbon consists of particles 0.1 to 1 mm in diameter, and powdered activated carbon particles are of 50 to 100 micrometer in diameter. The exact mechanism by which activated carbon holds organic material is not known. However, one reason for the effectiveness of this material is adsorbent, is its surface area of adsorbent. Removal of organics may also be accomplished by adsorbent synthetic polymers. Such polymers, for example, known as Amberlite XAD4, name of that synthetic polymer. This having hydrophobic surfaces and strongly attract insoluble organic chlorinated pesticides. The porosity of these polymers is up to 50% by volume and the surface area may be as high. They are readily regenerated by solvents such as isopropanol and acetone. Under appropriate operating conditions, these polymers remove virtually all non-ionic organic solutes. For example, phenol, at 250 milligram per liter is reduced to less than 0.1 milligram per liter by appropriate treatment with these synthetic polymer amberlites. Oxidation of dissolved organic hold some promise for their removal. Ozone, hydrogen peroxide, molecular oxygen, chlorine and its derivatives, permanganate or ferrate, iron 6 can be used. Electrochemical oxidation may also be possible in some cases. Removal of herbicides. Because of their widespread application and persistence, herbicides have proven to be particularly troublesome in drinking water sources. Their level vary with season related to time, as these herbicides are applied to control weeds. The more soluble ones are likely to enter drinking water sources. One of the most troublesome is atrazine, which is often manifested by its metabolite conversion of atrazine into its derivative D-style-atrazine. Activated carbon treatment is most widely used treatment of removing herbicides and their metabolites from drinking water sources. A problem with activated carbon is that of preloading. Preloading means in which natural organic matter in water loads up carbon and hinders uptake of pollutant organics such as herbicides. Pre-treatment to remove such organic matter such as flocculation, precipitation of humic substances can increase the efficacy of activated carbon for the removal of herbicides and other organic materials. In order for complete water recycling to be feasible, inorganic solute removal is essential. The effluent from secondary waste treatment contains 300 to 400 mg per liter more dissolved inorganic material than does the municipal water supply. 100% of water recycling without removal of inorganics would cause accumulation of an intolerable level of dissolved material. Even when the water is not destined for immediate reuse, the removal of inorganic nutrients, phosphorus and nitrogen is highly desirable to reduce eutrophication downstream. In some cases, the removal of toxic trace metals is needed. One of the most common methods for removing inorganic material from water is distillation. However, the energy required for distillation is quite high, so that distillation is not economically feasible. Volatile materials such as ammonia and odorless compounds are carried out to a large extent in the distillation process. However, ion exchange membrane process are the most cost-effective means of removing inorganic material from wastewater. Electrodialysis is also most common. Electrodialysis means applying a direct current across a body of water separated into layers by membrane, alternatively permeable to cations and anions. These three processes, ion exchange, reverse osmosis, electrodialysis, have been already discussed in previously slides. Phosphorus removal. Advanced waste treatment normally requires removal of phosphorus to reduce algal growth. Algae may grow at phosphate level as low as 0.05 mg per liter. Growth inhibition requires level well below 0.5 mg per liter. Since municipal waste typically contain approximately 25 mg per liter of phosphate as orthophosphate, polyphosphate and insoluble phosphate, the efficiency of phosphate removal must be quite high to prevent algal growth. This removal may occur in sewage treatment process, in primary settler tank, second in aeration chamber of activated sludge, third after secondary waste treatment. All these processes have been mentioned in detail in previously slides. Activated sludge treatment removes about 20% of the phosphorus from sewage. Thus, an appreciable fraction of largely biological phosphorus is removed with the sludge. Detergents and other sources contribute significant amount of phosphorus to domestic sewage, and phosphate ions remain in the effluent. However, some waste such as carbohydrate waste coming from sugar refineries are so deficient in phosphorus that supplementation of waste with inorganic phosphorus is necessary for the proper growth of microorganisms, degrading the waste. Under some sewage plant operating condition, much greater than normal phosphorus removal has been observed. In such plant, characterized by high dissolved oxygen, high pH levels in the aeration tank, removal of 60 to 90% of the phosphorus has been attained, yielding 2 or 3 times the normal level of phosphorus in the sludge. In a conventionally operated aeration tank of activated sludge plant, carbon dioxide level is relatively high because of the release of the gas by degradation of the organic material in water. The aeration rate is not maintained at very high level because oxygen is transferred more efficiently from air when dissolved oxygen level in water are low. Therefore, the aeration rate is not high enough to sweep out sufficient dissolved carbon dioxide to bring its concentration down to low levels. pH generally is low enough that phosphate is maintained primarily in the form of phosphate ion. However, at high rate of aeration in hard water, the carbon dioxide is swept out, pH rises, reactions such as follow occur, calcium with the phosphate ion and water conversion into the calcium hydroxyapatite. The precipitated hydroxyapatite or other form of calcium phosphate is incorporated in the sludge flocculation. Thus, under anaerobic conditions, when the sludge medium becomes more acidic due to higher carbon dioxide levels, the phosphate returns to the solution. Chemically, phosphate is the most commonly removed by precipitation. Precipitation processes are capable of at least 90 to 95% phosphorus removal at reasonable cost. Lime has the advantage of low cost and ease of regeneration. The efficiency with which phosphorus is removed by lime is not as high as by the low solubility of hydroxyapatite. Some of the possible reasons for these are slow precipitation of calcium hydroxyapatite, formation of non-settling colloid, precipitation of calcium as calcium carbonate in certain pH ranges, and that phosphate may be present as condensed phosphate. Lime is the chemical most commonly used for the phosphorus removal. When lime is added, calcium hydroxyapatite formation takes place. Phosphate can be removed from the solution by adsorption on some solids, particularly activated aluminum oxide. Removal up to 99.9% of orthophosphate have been achieved with method. Next to the phosphorus is the algal nutrient, most commonly removed as a part of advanced wastewater treatment. Numerous chemical, biological, ion exchange and membrane techniques can be used to remove nitrogen from water, as these techniques discussed previously in slide. Mineralization of organic nitrogen in wastewater treatment first produce ammonium ion. The most common chemical process for nitrogen removal from wastewater is reaction of nitrogen in the form of ammonium ion with hypochlorite, which is produced from chlorine, to produce elemental nitrogen that is evolved as a gas. The reaction is as follows. Ammonium reacts with the hypochlorite, then at the end the conversion of nitrogen gas that is evolved as a gas. Nitrification followed by the denitrification is the most common biological means of removing inorganic nitrogen from wastewater and the most effective technique. The first step is essentially complete conversion of ammonia and organic nitrogen to nitrate under strongly aerobic conditions in the presence of nitrifying bacteria. The second step is the reduction of nitrate to nitrogen gas. The reaction is also catalyzed in the presence of denitrifying bacteria and require a carbon source and a reducing agent such as methanol. The denitrifying process may be carried out either in a tank or on a carbon column. In a pilot plant operation, conversion of 95% to nitrate and 86% of nitrate to nitrogen have been achieved.